All right, here we go on another episode of Salient Points. This one's number 74 for June 28th, 2022. I am the host, the master of ceremonies, as sometimes Dalan likes to call me, Carlos Macias, and also Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, I'm doing just fine. I don't have birds in my wall. You have no AC.
Wait
I
a
mean, it's
minute.
all turning
Wait
around
a
for me.
minute. You got the birds
Mhm.
out of your wall? What happened?
I just closed it off and they just stopped showing up.
Hey, PETA's gonna show up to your house. That's who's gonna show up to your house. Talking about you sealed off the birds
I
inside your
mean,
No,
home.
no,
did
no,
I
no.
not say that was the solution though? That's what I
Just
said.
seal it up. Just close it.
But you let them leave first, or they were still in
Yes, I
there.
let them leave first. I'm not gonna let them
Mm,
live in my wall and keep chirping and die in there. That's terrible.
okay, Dale. Well, we're glad. I don't know if you put that on wax last week that you had birds in the inside your walls,
Oh,
but
I
there it
did.
is.
I did.
He did.
Yeah, at least we got the solution out of the way. We also got Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
No birds in my wall. AC working like a charm.
I was just before we came on the record, I was my AC is acting a little funky right now, and it's hot. It's hot. I don't know if you guys know, but it's not even full summer yet, so it might be little beads of sweat coming down my forehead a little bit. But anyways, look, we
Wait,
got.
you know we're in the middle of June, right? Talking about we're not even in summer.
Oh, it's not full blast summer
No, he
though.
said it's not like peak
Yeah, it's
summer.
not peak yet. It's
So,
not peak.
what is peak summer for you,
Probably
Carlos?
like 3 weeks right in like middle of July, dude. Like or a couple weeks. It's starting. Oh, we're getting there.
When it gets into
No,
the
we're good there.
consistent
Oh
hundreds, that's
yeah,
when
when
it's
we're
peak
dealing
summer.
with exactly when we're dealing with hundreds across the board. Right now we're like there's some highs and
We're
there's some
jumping
lows.
between 80 to
Yeah.
100. We're going back
Yeah,
and forth.
yeah. But at some point, it's gonna be like it's just hot. But look, we didn't get no comments from Jet, and I just saw Jet over the weekend, Dylan, and he was like, "I'm gonna leave a comment," and he was like, "Whatever." I guess he didn't, but that's
Oh,
fine.
that's
So we're
because he
still.
hasn't listened to the podcast. He was just
Mm,
arguing with me
okay,
about that
that's
a few
fine.
seconds ago.
That's fine. Whatever. But anyways, a little shout out to him, and next time he or she. He or she, right? We can't put them out.
They.
They,
Sorry,
okay,
they.
they. There you go. So, anyways, no feedback from the community, but like we said, YouTube, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you comment, especially if you're shooting some smoke towards Dalen, we will put you on the show. But nothing too big this past week, just a couple little things. So we're gonna get right into the quick takes this week. One that's kind of big for me is the fact that we should be getting a Metroid Prime remastered this holiday, and this is from our pal over at VentureBeat, Jeff Grubb. He's in the rumor mills. He hears a lot of things, so he's got some credibility to him. So we should be seeing a Metroid Prime remastered. And he also said that 2 and 3 are probably coming out like in the next couple of years. I'm sure they're gonna be spaced out because Metroid 4, we don't know when that's coming out. We are just not sure. They might not even have had a chance to start working on it, Dalen, like you said of a video game not too long ago. But how do you feel about it, Dalen? Would you pick up a Metroid Prime remaster?
I actually would pick up a Metroid Prime remaster because I actually did enjoy Metroid Prime 1, but I never actually got a chance to beat it. So if they remaster it and it plays essentially the same way, but, well, okay. If it looks better, which some guy out there was actually reskinning it himself, making it look beautiful. If the actual company remakes the game themselves, I'm sure it's going to look even more beautiful because they have the extra resources to be able to do so.
Yeah.
I'm down
I
to
well,
play this
I
beautiful looking
doubt it.
game, but
I
I want them to update the controls because I was having a hard time moving around Metroid
Yeah.
Prime 1. I went back to try and play that game, and the controller and the controls just didn't seem to fit together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I haven't played it in a little while, but yeah, sure. I would like it to be updated. I don't think it's Retro that's working on it, right? Because they're supposed to be working on Metroid Prime 4. So I think it's just gonna be kind of a cleaned up version. Probably the controls are gonna be a little bit better, but I might be hyped. I'm not as hyped. It's funny. I'm not as hyped as much as like say what does PlayStation Extra have so I could pick up some trophies in because I have played this game and I don't know if I quite 100%ed it, but it's kind of like if there's no trophies and you're just gonna clean it up a little bit. It is one of the best games ever made, though. I will say that. So if you've never played it, perfect excuse. It would be kind of nice for Nintendo to do like a trilogy version, which they did on the Wii U, I believe, or maybe on the Wii still or Wii U. They did like a collection that you could buy with all three games together.
Now I'm
What?
gonna ask. Metroid Prime is not connected to Metroid Dread. Is that right?
No. I think you've had this confusion before, Dalan, on wax about it. I think they're kind of parallel. They're running in parallel, but no, it's Metroid Prime. It's its own like series, you know. It's its own like franchise. But they don't really tie them out all together. But Metroid Prime remastered, and then of course Nintendo's gonna milk us for a couple games in the next couple years. We do have.
We're gonna get DLC. Don't worry.
It's not DLC, man. They're just gonna slap together.
No, I said they're gonna add DLC. That's what I'm saying.
I hope if they do
you
that.
Believe in Nintendo that much?
Yeah, I don't believe in them that hard, dude. I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
Said I don't believe in Nintendo to make any DLC content.
If they do DLC, it's a day one purchase. Right now, I want to see the pricing. I want to see the rollout. But yeah, we should be having something big because that's coming out and then Splatoon's coming out. So, you know, they got to have something for the holidays. So I do believe Mr. Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat as far as that's coming out. We just need to get a confirmation. We did get a couple nice little historical notes, Dalan, on, I don't know if you've played the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. But apparently Miyamoto wasn't the fans weren't that big of a fan when the fans weren't that happy with how that game looked because they were so like
nobody was.
Yeah, they wanted like
nobody was.
Now it's cute and nostalgic and it looks beautiful, of course, right? But this initially people were like, wait, what is this? This is not what you showed us at Space World. What are we looking at here? Because they first showed like a realistic version of it, and even Miyamoto was looking for that. And as VGC reports, they said that Nintendo initially planned to simply improve on the graphics from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and even created a prototype of the Wind Waker in that style. According to an interview with Wind Waker director Eiji Aonuma, cited by the video, he didn't believe Miyamoto would like the redesign. So he waited as long as he could before showing it to his boss, saying that he, quote, literally cringed, unquote, when he first saw it. Quote, if I had gone and talked to him from the very beginning, I think he would have said, how is that Zelda? Miyamoto had trouble letting go. Miyamoto had trouble letting go of the realistic Link art style until the very end. At some point, he had to give a presentation against his will. That's when he said something to me like, you know, it's not too late to change course and make a realistic Zelda. So even Miyamoto was not necessarily convinced all the way to the end of this project. But I'm kind of glad that they went in this direction, man. It's a nice little game. The selling... It's a little tedious, though. It can be a little rough in the original release, but I'm kind of glad that game exists. What about you, Dalan?
For the game itself, it's like looking at Final Fantasy IX. You don't like the art, but when you actually play it, it turns out to be a good game. Because once you get to the point where you can start teleporting everywhere, the game becomes excellent from middle to end. The whole first half, yes, it's a hard grind to get through to get to that point, but once you get to that point, suddenly the game is super fun and you want to explore the entire map.
Were you were you kind of like a Zelda CELDA? That was the like derogatory term at the time because it was cell shaded, right? It was like the big thing at the time. So were you kind of like, what is this that I'm looking at, or were you even following games like that back then?
I was at that point, and that's when I saw that demo, and I was ready for that super 3D high action octane Link coming out because I watched them show that demo with Link murdering Ganondorf in that dark, well-lit room all at the same time. I don't even know how to really... That high dynamic room. High definition. No, what was it? HDR. I'll just say it's HDR room. And that nice HDR
they didn't call it HDR then. But yeah, they originally showed it at Space World 2000, right? They showed the Legend of Zelda, Mario 128, which never came out, and I think Luigi's Mansion is kind of what they showed off at the time.
And they were talking about how that game was supposed to come out on the Wii U. We all know how the Wii U went. But then they came out with that cartoonish version, and nobody was enjoying the art. And Miyamoto, at that time, I guess he was forced to actually come out and make statements for it. He was like, well, they're just not ready for that level of 3D yet. I was like, what are you talking about? That's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah,
but now they look, the art.
I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest, Dalan. We're talking about like
I don't know about the Wii U.
Yeah, because this was during the GameCube time. The Wind Waker came out during the game. But you mentioned the Wii U. The Wii didn't even exist, much less the Wii U. Was
it the Wii when they made that statement?
Look, just to give you a little like historical background.
Was the tech demo?
There was a thing called the Nintendo 64, And then after the
Yeah, and
Nintendo
then after that,
64 was the
GameCube.
GameCube, and during the GameCube era is when they were promoting a realistic style Zelda, but then they went with Zelda, and they that's when it came out on the GameCube, and it was during the time when cell shading was like a big thing, right? The Dreamcast, oh, I miss the Dreamcast so much, but the cell shading kind of was big during that time, so they're like, let's do a Wind Waker. Zelda.
Okay, so I'm thinking of the fact that they were talking about how it was supposed to come out on the Wii.
You're
But
severely
still,
confused, but that's
yeah,
fine.
I was really confused, but it was still an actual okay game for those that did actually.
But it's kind of cool to see that even like the OG, right? Miyamoto was like, "Yeah, what are you guys doing here? Like, what is this cell shaded Zelda, right?" Even he was like in line with the fans, right? And they basically like, "Hey, he waited." Like Aonuma said that he's like he waited till the very like last moment where it's like, okay, I have to show it to Miyamoto, and he's like, you could change it still. I was like,
Hey, the
nope,
people aren't ready for this level of 3D.
So Dalan, by the time this episode would have dropped, there's gonna be a Nintendo Direct Mini. It's gonna be 25 minutes of third-party info. You waking up for this? It drops at 6 a.m. So basically, by the time this is published, people will have known what happened. Do you want to throw some
Absolutely
predictions?
not. I'll just follow. I will follow up on it after I wake up.
Luis, I think this was for Luis. Luis, you got any kind of like predictions that people will have been able to debunk as soon as they listen to this?
I have no predictions because I honestly don't really care about Nintendo. That's why I put yes question mark because it's like I mean I definitely don't need to wake up at the crack of dawn to see this live. There's no reason to do that, right? I could do that at any time during the day. And even then, I might not watch it. I'll just see if something on Twitter catches my eye. But Nintendo Switch announcements, all that thing, it's been such a letdown for the past like 2 years, maybe. Honestly, for me, that thing just sits there. So
it's
we'll
always
see.
been It's been underwhelming for the past couple of years.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they show something that gets me hyped, but I honestly doubt it. They've been
One
not
thing
so hyped.
one thing that's rumored is that Nier Automata, Daylan, it might be coming to Switch. That might show up on the direct Automata. That might
Damn,
show
he was
up.
really upset.
He really was upset. Damn, my bad. Damn. Like, we were just talking about Naruto Shippuden or something, and he was kind of upset about that. That I saw the whole thing. That I saw the whole thing, but you don't believe me. But Nier Automata.
All anime fans out there, please hit up Carlos.
Dalen, so that might have shown up on the direct. Like I said, we're talking about future past tense or whatever the case might be. But whether or not it showed up on the direct, you'll play this on the Switch. Then you'll finally get the 7th ending to this game.
Oh, I got all the endings, but having it be on the Switch, this just means you can do it on the go, Carlos.
I'm not doing it at all,
Why
dude. Like,
you-
yeah, I don't want to do it on the go or not on the go.
all right.
I don't want to mess with that at all.
So I will repeat this, and I know I did this some time ago. You play through the game the first time with one character, then you do it a second time with a different character, which is a parallel story, and then after that, it's just a continuation of the game. They don't make you run through the same story 7 times. They make you run through it twice with 2 different characters, and then it's a continuation all the way to the end of the game. And you can say, really, it just has 3 endings.
Look, you got Deo. I'm wondering if Deo took you up on your challenge there, but you will not get me on this, sir. I'm going to play through a game once.
Again, I'm telling you, man, you're messing up. Hey,
no, I'm
telling you, man, you're messing up.
They are. They should put the whole story like the first playthrough. I don't know what they're doing over there. All right,
they're doing it so you get different perspectives, so you get all the story.
Not down at all.
Sounds
But
like
what I think,
hey, you missed out on the Sephiroth character, then. All right.
So what the other thing now? I'm not sure if people are hinting at this will. We might get more footage of this, but Mario plus Rabbids 2. I didn't get the title. I just put 2 on here. But that's coming out October 20th, 2022. That might have shown up on the direct if you guys saw it on there. But if not, that should be coming out soon. Luis, you've been kind of looking forward to a little Mario plus Rabbids action?
I mean, yeah, gotta love the wackiness of the rabbits. Always love me some rabbits, especially with the the little cutscenes they put in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be checking this one out for sure.
Okay, there you go. Mario plus
Mario plus Rabbids spark of hope.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much. And see, I appreciate that one, Dylan. I appreciate that correction. All right. Sometimes you be going overboard though. But yeah, Mario plus Rabbids. I did play the original one, and at some point it just got too ridiculous. I had to think too much. I'm gonna put it that way. I had to think too much. I put it on easy. All easy does is give you like 50 extra HP. It's like, this does not help. This is not very helpful. I'm still dying just as much. But Mario plus Rabbids, I'll kick it around a little bit. I might Gamefly it or something. Dalan, this is one that you kind of threw into the mix, right? So I'll kind of let you take the lead on this one. But Bungie is seeking damages in the millions from a Destiny YouTuber who allegedly impersonated the company to issue a series of bogus DMCA strikes against fellow content creators. It's pretty juicy, man. I kind of like that. But at the same time, they're like, all right, that's enough. That's enough.
It was actually pretty nasty when I was reading the story too, because a while back we actually did talk about the fact that out of nowhere Destiny was actually throwing a bunch of DMC strikes at a bunch of random people, and they couldn't figure out why it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
They came to find out.
This is related. This is related to that.
This is related.
Okay.
This is related
right.
Because it was just one guy who got upset at YouTube for their DMCA policy. And he ended up getting in trouble with Destiny, and he worked for Destiny. He worked for Bungie.
Okay.
And he went off and he created 400 fake email accounts.
Well, this is an inside job. It's an inside job here. Okay, I like it.
For every single one, he just faked it and actually opened up a contesting order, a DMCA contesting order against a whole bunch of videos that were Destiny related. He just did it just to prove how terrible their system was.
Okay, I like it.
I thought it was hilarious.
So it's been proven that this guy that they're seeking $7.7 million from worked at Destiny at some point. Or at Bungie.
He worked for Bungie. He worked for Bungie. So much so that the reason he really got caught is because he was direct messaging somebody in Discord and was talking about how YouTube was messing up and how he was creating all these fake emails. He basically doxed himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, right? It's kind of like it's kind of one of those things where people feel entitled, right? To this, like, well, they're shutting me down, or I can't even get permissions to put music from the game and blah blah blah. But it is something that it's like Bungie's like, no, not even if you feel entitled, no, don't do it, right? So,
but he felt that it was too easy to get those strikes against you, and he wanted to prove it, and he proved his point because all you had to do is make an email.
Well, did he prove his point? Because now he owes some serious cash.
Well, he proved that their policy is terrible because YouTube does not actually do any type of cross-reference checks for any of these, so they're just opened and people's content just got pulled down.
Wait, but see, so you say this guy worked for them, but it says it on the title of the story, Dalan, who allegedly impersonated the company to issue
DMCA. The headline might say allegedly impersonated, but no, he was a former employee.
Okay, I'll have to look into this a little bit more, but we'll go to Luis. Luis, what are your thoughts on these here shenanigans?
Well, I mean, just on that, I think the wording there is impersonated the company, not necessarily that he impersonated a company employee.
Oh,
but,
right.
Yeah, as far as that, he did, I guess, prove his point as far as the whole the filing a copyright claim, right? There's no check, there's no anything. It's just like they take a video down. But he did get pinched. He got pinched real hard.
Pinched $7.7 million.
But I mean, hey, this is what happens when we load up a game. We don't even think about it now these days. But we have to agree that there's certain rules and conditions if we want to have fun. If we're down to have fun with the game, we have to agree and check the box. And he broke that agreement.
If you don't want to have fun, if you don't want to have fun, then you turn down the agreement. You are deciding you no longer want to partake in the fun, in the FUN.
Amen. He said to himself, if you don't want to play that way, don't play that way.
And he's paying for it for
Pretty
sure.
much.
He's paying for it for sure. I think there's losers all around, to be honest, in this story, man. Bungie loses. This guy definitely loses because he's got to pay up. I mean, and it probably might be like one of those default things. Does he have $7.7 million, or is it just one of those like, all right, give us what you got, man?
Hey,
But
don't do this again. This is a warning. We're not gonna put you in collections. We're not gonna fight you on it. But if you do this again, we're definitely gonna come after you. You're gonna owe us $7 million.
yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I kind of want to dig into it some more. Maybe there's some more wrinkles that comes out next week, though. But I do definitely want to kind of dig into this a little bit more. The next thing we have is that Sony is out there. I believe we put it on Wax that they were taking off the cards, the original PlayStation cards, PlayStation Plus, the yearly subscription things, and they're replacing them now with apparently tier-specific PlayStation Plus cards. Meaning, and I was trying to look for the like U.S. equivalent, but I guess this story is kind of originating out of the U.K. and that's where they're seeing these cards pop up. But they have a 84-pound cards and 100-pound cards, which is about $103 and $123 US dollars. So I'm assuming that's kind of like an equivalent of a yearly extra versus the premium deluxe, right, which runs about 120. So I don't think they're selling these in like monthly denominations from what it seems like. And based on their shenanigans, I had recent shenanigans where I was like, oh, pay $31. Paid $31.52 to make up the difference for the last few months you have. I was like, what the hell is it? So I'm assuming this is a way to get around that too, right? That they're not gonna sell monthly, a subscription. They're like, here, pay for a year. That's the card that is available to you. But Dalan, what do you think, man? Are you gonna grab these cards when they come out?
Hey man, it feels like serious shenanigans the way that they're actually doing the whole subscription pricing thing, because some people don't want to actually have premium for a whole year or extra for a whole year, but you have to have it for a year, or at least until the end of your subscription, and that is nasty regardless of what happens.
That is gross, dude. It's super gross, man. Like, I mean, at the very least, usually like there's like sales and deals on these, but at the same time, it's like, what's the deal on $120 card? I might get it for 100. No, I mean, I might get it for 100 or 90. I was like, all I want to do is get trophies in Ape Escape. That's all I want to do. I don't think Ape Escape is worth $100. The trophies in Ape Escape are worth that much. So it's funny, but look, these cards are out there, at least in the UK. I'm sure in the US of A, in the good old US of America, we'll start seeing these come around. But yeah, it's a little gross, man. It's a little gross because at the very least, Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, which is the equivalent of this, right? At least those guys, at least they'll give you, the $15 a month option. Right, you pay $15. Sony's like, no.
Or you can do 3 months, or you can do a year.
A monthly. They give you options, whereas Sony's like, no. Not only pay the difference now, and that's the way you get extra or premium, deluxe, whatever they want to call it. But it's a little gross. It's a little gross. I think it'll make it really tough. I have to get like I don't know, man. I'm gonna think of my own shenanigans to play on the cheap. I guess I'll get the monthly whatever they're called, and I'll just get to the end of that subscription of the essential, or whatever the basic one is. But
actually, go ahead. For the essential, right? That's monthly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll get a monthly essentials, and like, sure, I just want to play this, and I'll pay the difference, whatever, man. Right now, I got to pay like a $31 difference or something till the end.
Actually, that might be the way to actually get around the whole I have to pay for a whole year thing. Is that you just pay for a month or a couple of months, and then you pay the difference on that when you actually go online.
I'm gonna try it.
That would be the only way that I can think to actually get around it. But I didn't have that choice because I wanted to try it out, and I had to pay for the remaining 600 days that I had left.
Wait, what did you pay? What did you pay? Huh? What did you pay?
I ended up paying $72
just to play some Ape Escape, huh?
No. I didn't get premium. I didn't even get premium.
Oh, this was the step lower. Whatever.
Yeah, this is extra. Premium is the only one where you get the PS1 games. Extra is the one where you get like the library of PS4 and PS5 games. I'm fine with that because I already played all those PS1 games, or most of them anyway. I was like, I'm not going to go back and play Ape Escape again. As fun as that game was, I don't need Army Men in my life, and I don't even think that was up on the list. But I'll just stick with my PS4 and PS5 games. I mean, I got to go back and play Returnal. I already, I'm going to talk about that later on. But the fact is that there's a whole list that I do want to play for PS4 that I never got around to, and now I don't have to buy all those games.
Yeah,
instead I just paid the one subscription, and I have 2 years to play them.
I still feel like they're being too wacky about it, dude. But
they are.
If you got the essential one, the basic pack, We do know what the July games are gonna be for that is Crash Bandicoot 4, which is actually a pretty damn good game. And guess what? I think I put it on wax before, but those games are hard, man. And 4 continues that. But 4 at the very least gives you like an option to continue. The original one like kicks you back, I think. It like kicks you back to the original is some BS. It's hard.
Well,
it's hard.
The two they both have their own type of difficulty to them. Mm-hmm. Being that the originals, you had the continues and you get kicked back, but the platforming, at least you had was the jump boxes. You could actually run off of a ledge for half a second and still make the jump. In the remakes, you can't do that. There's
this one's not the remake though. This is like a legit sequel. Did you try this one, the Crash Bandicoot 4?
Crash 4. Okay, I tried it, but I did not.
So this one is really smart. How it does its difficulty. It's still hard. It's still hard as hell though, but it's pretty smart about how it does its difficulty. The other one that I know Luis has talked about before, but Man of Medan, part of the Dark Pictures anthology, is dropping as well. Luis, you gonna grab that now? That you don't have to buy it? Or
it's free, so I'll grab it. I can't say that I'll play it because there's a bunch of games in the backlog, so I'll get to it when I get to it.
But that one is co-opable. It is co-opable.
You play it with somebody else, you can get through that game in maybe 2-3 hours.
There you go. And there's another one called Arcadegeddon, whatever that is. Just click download on all of them, or not even. You don't even need to click download. Just click add to your library. At least have it in case you ever need to. Dalan, any other thoughts on that?
I do recall Arcadegeddon being a bunch of like mini arcade games that were. It's actually a very recent game that just came out. I know it got announced last year.
All right.
I was thinking about trying it, but I guess I will now. It's going to be free.
There you go. And you didn't have to upgrade $1 million to get it either. You could have kept your basic subscription for PlayStation.
You know what? I'm going to live with my choice. I had 2 years stacked up, and I said, even if I was going to pay for PlayStation Plus for the whole year anyway, I was still going to drop $70. So I think I could deal with 72 and be okay.
Man, Sony, man. The next thing, Valve is talking about their Steam Deck recently. I guess they need to get those out to people still. But they recently came out and said that they're recommending that you don't mod your Steam Deck to use larger M2 drives. And this is me. I'm reading off of a Kotaku article here. But Kotaku said Valve user experience designer Lawrence Yang is at least advising against a mod that increases the literal size of the deck's SSD. The reason, altering the M2 2230 SSD will, quote, significantly shorten, end quote, the device's lifespan. So, Luis, what are your thoughts on this here, man? They're like, stop messing around with that device. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I actually saw the tweet that he posted. It was way more detailed and went into specifically as to why it would do it, but it all kind of boiled down to like where that piece goes. There is actually a lot of space around it, so it can physically fit a larger one there. But what he was saying is it needs that space because that area gets really hot. So. And the way that the heat is distributed, it essentially needs that room. Otherwise, it's going to just that's how it would shorten your device's lifespan, because it would just get hotter than it actually should be getting.
Yeah,
you're halfway there.
What do you mean?
Come on, Dalan, you all right? Let him tell his story, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him tell his story.
Well,
Continue
what
to
the
tell
hell
your
you
story.
doing over here interrupting him, man?
All right.
Damn.
So,
hold on, Luis. Was that the end of your statement?
I was just trying to say what I read from a tweet. I didn't say that I understood how this hardware worked. I'm just saying this is what I remembered from a tweet. But Dalan could go ahead and go.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna correct the one piece, is that there actually wasn't really enough space because of the thermal plates that are there that actually keep the thing from overheating. And in order to mod the physical system itself, they're moving those plates farther away, which is creating the loss of dispersal of heat. So it's all staying in the
stop
system.
Clicking that, whatever you're clicking.
No,
don't click. Dude, we're recording something. I don't know. Why are you clicking stuff? I don't understand. And you over here giving your explanation.
With it. I was being fidgety with it.
So what's the bottom line here? What is your guys' thoughts on this? I suppose it is a handheld, right? So it is kind of limited. But should they have taken that into consideration, or is this something that a normal person would think like, yeah, let me just put in whatever SSD, or it's kind of like, no, we don't recommend anyone do that.
We don't recommend anybody modify the system because it's built to these specific specs. I mean, if somebody who's super smart creates their own, heat sink? It's basically the heat sink. If you move the heat sink out of the way, then the heat sink's not going to work.
All right.
And regular people don't understand that. So just stick with the size that they tell you to use.
Yeah, well, I would think if you're doing this, you kind of know what you're doing, right? Or no, this is something that a layperson like myself, Carlos, would be like, I'm going to put in this other drive and not understand anything. Or it takes some kind of a little technical know-how. Luis, does it take a little technical know-how to like...
I don't know, ask Dalan.
Okay, yeah, I know. They're just going to interrupt you anyways.
Hey, I don't like that, but to answer your question...
You just got to realize it. You just got to realize it.
Yeah. It does take a little technical know-how to be able to move those plates and to have them continue to function. So it's one of those things that if you bought the bigger size, which is the 3323 or whatever it is, if you bought that bigger size, it's not going to fit in that little spot, and then you're going to be upset. You're going to have to go back to the store.
Are you planning on grabbing a Steam Deck, Dalan, or no?
It is currently the most customizable system out there, and I definitely want to.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a PC, right? Just don't get
It's a PC, but it's still $300, $400.
At least.
Oh yeah, I actually saw one this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an old coworker that I met up with brought his Steam Deck to a weird place to bring it, but I guess you can because it's portable. We went to dinner, and he brought his Steam Deck because one of the guys wanted to check it out. But yeah, he had it fully modded, like up to as far as the software is concerned.
Okay.
He had Switch games running on it, emulators, this and that. Like it was the whole. He's like, I don't even need a Switch. Like this is my Switch.
Okay,
So,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Just don't put Destiny on it because we know what happened there.
Well, he's definitely got
might get banned. See, that's part of the boxes. To agree to have fun, you have
you need
to
to
not
agree
put
to
on
have fun for it. Now, did he modify the M2 slot or whatever? Do you know about that?
I don't think so, but I didn't ask.
Okay.
So,
do you see a purpose for you to have one of these things, Lisa, or no?
I probably never will buy one. I don't think unless I have just money lying around that I want to burn for some reason. I don't feel like I need one, especially with the battery life how it is now. Like I don't think you'll get any reasonable usage outside of your home with it.
Yeah.
For me to like want to buy one for the portability aspect. So
yeah.
Nah,
see, it seems very Game Gear-ish. That's what it reminds me of. Like the Game Gear lasted like 30 minutes on like 10 batteries.
30 minutes.
10 batteries. That thing was ridiculous. But I mean, some people will plug it in. They'll plug it into their car. They'll plug it in at their work or wherever they take this thing. So I'm sure they'll have fun with that. Dalan, the next thing on here, you'll have to help me out a little bit. All I have is a quick little sentence. Final Fantasy 16 won't be open world. Instead, it's gonna have a quote unquote area-based game design. I'm assuming 15 was kind of open world, right? In a way, you drove your car around into the desert.
15 was open world.
Yeah, you kind of drove around. I mean, there was not a lot to see though, if we're being honest. So, do you feel like
no, there wasn't a lot to see. Each area that you go to is like 4 areas, and so there's 4 areas, and then after you get past
they were driving.
Yeah, and then after you get past those 4 areas, it's nothing but corridors. After that, it's nothing but corridors. As a matter of fact, there was a whole chapter that they had to change because people were getting upset that it was nothing but corridors.
There you go. But what do you think? This is a good move, right? Like coming from 15 came out a while ago too, right? Like it's been a while since 15. We really care more about remake, Final Fantasy 7 remake at this point, I think.
Okay, so my problem here is that a lot of the corridor-based games it reduces how much fun you can really have. The best example I can give right now is Final Fantasy 13. If you actually had a chance to play Lightning, the one with Lightning, but the first quarter of that game, or first third of that game, it was nothing but corridors. And so it felt very linear the entire way, and you were just kind of plowing through the story, and you kind of missed out on what Final Fantasy is at the same time.
But that's not necessarily what they're saying either, though, right? I mean, they wouldn't say it, right? Even if you ask them to describe that game, they're going to say it's a corridor. But they're saying it's an area-based game design, right? You're going into different areas, right? So
yeah, so
we don't really know if
so
they're
I'm
scored right.
hoping that they don't go the way of the linear corridors with each area, because even though they call them maps, they only have like 3 different routes you can go.
Mm.
So I'm hoping they go more the route of. I know you didn't get a chance to play it yourself, Carlos, but Tales of the Arise, which was an excellent game, and it was open world, but each area it had its own little section, and they were awesome
Yeah.
because they put a lot of detail into those areas. I don't need a super large open world map, with the exception of Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. I want to be able to travel that world in its entirety, but for Final Fantasy 16, it's a new IP. They can do what the hell they want as long as they don't overdo it.
I will tell you this, then. I'm going to let you in on a secret. When it's called Final Fantasy 16, that is no longer a new IP. That is the 16th iteration in a franchise. All right? But
I meant a new installment. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, and I mean, look, I'll be honest with you for a moment, Dalan. Final Fantasy, that's what they do, right? Every single numbered game has been a new iteration, right? It's been a new story with
just a little bit different.
But yeah, I don't know. Are you hyped for it? Have you looked at any more footage from it or anything like that? Or are you going in blackout mode till it drops there?
I have looked at a couple of pieces of footage for it, and it does actually look pretty good. Though I will admit, I was actually more intrigued by Kingdom Hearts 4.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because that whole thing with Sora in the city where he loses his big feet. Mm-hmm. That place.
That's what I was gonna say.
Awesome. That's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping. What Final Fantasy 15 Versus was gonna be, but then they scrapped that idea altogether.
Yeah.
You don't even remember Final Fantasy 15
so you'll get it.
Versus.
I'm not worried about it though. I will say that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna put it to you that way. I'm not concerned about that. But Final Fantasy 16, I'll mess with it. I mean, they high fantasy though type of stuff, but I know it's right up your alley, right? The high fantasy stuff, and but I'm down. I'm down to try it out. Now, the other thing is going along with their high fantasy stuff is that they're gonna do British English voices only, which is kind of what they've done, right? It was 15. What were those? American-ish English voices?
Or... Oh, they were very American voices.
Okay. I think I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the Dragon Quest series. They're all British English, right? And all those Dragon Quest games, which was a little interesting to me. But what do you think, Dalan? It gives it a little more legitimacy, I suppose, that the British English voices.
I'm gonna try and say this without pissing people off.
Oh no! Say it the way it will piss people off, please.
Americans are little bitches when it comes to actually talking about this kind of stuff, because they always want to hear their language. They always want to hear their language on the game, and don't get me wrong, that's awesome. And Americans can be very ignorant when it comes to other languages. Period. But then there are those that are just what is the word I'm looking for? The people that really want it to be authentic. So when they hear American voices in a British area, they're like, "What the hell is going on? Why didn't you just get British actors?"
You're talking about like a high fantasy setting. Like high fantasy is kind of like you.
No, I'm talking about 1600s. It could be the Crusades, no dragons whatsoever.
Okay,
people will complain.
That's fair. You know what, Dalan? It's a salient point. I hadn't thought about that before. When you're going back in, 15, America did not exist. So where would an American accent be? So that's you convinced me on that one, Dalan. All right, so that's what they've confirmed that. So I hope you're happy, Dalan, that they're being 100% accurate in this new IP or in this new franchise that you referred to as Final Fantasy 16.
I'll let this be the new IP franchise going on here.
This next one's for Luis. There is a quote-unquote near impossible No Man's Sky Switch port coming October 7th. And, of course, our favorite punching bag, Mr. Hello Games director Sean Murray, had a quote to say. So what he said, No Man's Sky on this tiny portable device feels both completely natural and also totally improbable at the same time. This has been a real moonshot for our small team. No Man's Sky is built around procedural generation. There we go with that word again, which means the console generates everything you see. This makes it so much harder to bring our game to something like the Switch, but I think this team never seems happier than when they're trying to do near impossible things. Sean Murray, he is a man. That's my statement on Sean Murray for today. Luis, what are what are your thoughts here, man? As far as the Switch port of No Man's Sky.
I don't know why anyone would even want to bring a game like that onto the Switch with pretty much honestly whenever I see any port that's like on the new Xbox and the new PlayStation, they're like, and it's on Switch. I'm like, oh my god, that must have been a nightmare to develop. Like there's no way. They're just so far behind on everything else. But then No Man's Sky, like I don't think anyone was like, damn, I wish I had No Man's Sky on my Switch. So I don't know, man. I mean, good for them, I guess. Hopefully it sells well. But that last part, I actually didn't see that until you put in the rundown in Reddit right now. It says this team never seems happier than when they're trying to do near impossible. Why do they keep doing that? Why don't they just make something that's like a little hard? But can actually do it with the team
challenging.
Not something that you would consider near impossible to do. But Sean Murray, I mean, he is a man. He is a man that has promoted video games over time. He has promoted games over time, and people have believed him. And I mean, but as you guys can see, they're still a small team. So please don't ever believe them that they're bringing you the stars and the universes down to fit into that Switch. I mean, going back to a little bit as far as the development, that's why you see a lot of cloud versions of Switch games, right? At least you don't see. Yeah. You know, like I think what Hitman came to the Switch, that was a cloud version, and then they did Control, I think, which was also a Switch a cloud version. So it's gonna be real interesting and wacky. But hey, you know, people can buy whatever they want. This thing was gonna run at 10 frames, though, I'm sure, right? Like it's not gonna run well.
I'll give it 12 frames, and they're gonna drop frames.
The next thing we have on here is apparently the Xbox is outselling PlayStation 5 in Japan. I do like how I looked into it. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Xbox outsells PlayStation 5. Sony says that it's due to ongoing stock shortages. But then I looked into the numbers, and it's like Xbox sells 6,695 hardware units and PlayStation's 3,035 units, so it's about double what PlayStation 5 is selling hardware wise. But I'm like, those are some quaint numbers. But even so, I guess it's kind of you know, the Xbox has never really sold well in Japan. They might have outsold them, like this might be like the third time the Xbox outsells PlayStation ever in Japan. But it's, you know, it's an interesting little anecdote, I suppose, that Xbox is beating PlayStation. But Dalan, what are your thoughts on this little story?
I definitely think you're right in regards to the fact that Xbox has generally not outsold, or most Microsoft products has generally not outsold Sony out in Japan. So that by itself is a crazy thought. But everywhere else, you look at the stocks and the way that they're actually selling off the shelves, and how Xbox is still consistently selling their systems, even if it's not the black one. They're selling their speaker box.
Whoa.
Their speaker box. Hey, they're black. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a color.
If anybody can say that, though, it's you. If people, I hope, are watching the video, because based on sound, you might not be too sure of Dalan's background.
La negro.
Whoa, Dalan, whoa! Please look at the video, YouTube.com, if you're only listening to the audio. But yeah. Okay.
Hey man, that's like getting mad at the person for saying the Spanish color negro, and you're just like, wait, that's the word.
Well, you didn't blend two languages. You said la negro.
Yeah, you said it in English for
wait,
sure.
how's that?
You said
how
it
is
in
that?
English
La is like French or Italian or something.
That's true.
Is that not? There's no law is not Spanish whatsoever.
You said la.
You're gonna tell me it's not? No, I said la.
Yeah, okay, something. Anyways, it's on wax. It's on wax. It's on wax. It's on wax. We will investigate. Trust me, we will investigate. But anyways, to your point, to your Xbox versus PlayStation point.
To my Xbox versus PlayStation point is that the speakers themselves, the white ones, they're still selling really well, and the fact is, Xbox just consistently continues to sell across the board, all overseas and everywhere, while PlayStation continues to have to put out the same statement of, we have shortages, we have chip shortages. Xbox ain't making that excuse. They are not making that excuse whatsoever.
I mean, it could be for a variety of different factors, right? But I think that is a fair point as far as the speaker. By DJ Khaled calls it a speaker, right? The Xbox Series S, and you're a proud owner of a speaker, right, Dalan?
Yes, I am.
So I think that was a smart decision on Microsoft's, point of view. The way they went about things, that they're like, here's a speaker, entry level, $300 speaker, and please, because I don't think they distinguish which one's selling the most. There must have been a whole bunch of speakers, and they sold all those. But
well, one last thing I will say in this regard, though, is that when it comes to the types of chips, obviously both the Xbox and the PlayStation are not using the same type of chips. So PlayStation might actually, or Sony might be having a harder time getting their form of their chips because they have that new patented liquid chip that they created. So I'm sure that it's a lot harder for them to actually get their stuff together.
I don't know.
And get this thing pushed out.
I thought they were kind of interchangeable, but maybe I gotta look into that. You might be right.
Not really.
Be right. I can't refute that. Luis, you know about this? Are they using different chips? Do you know?
I have no idea. No.
We don't know. I can't.
They have some patented technology to be able to cool their specific types.
I want to be able to say you're wrong, because a lot of times you just pull things out of your butt.
Fine. Look it up on their new patented chip and liquid cooling system.
So for now, I'll believe you. How about that? For now, I'll believe you, Dalan.
That's fine. But I know that as soon as their chip shortage is over, those things are going to go flying off the shelves again, and they're going to jump above the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of supply constrained, but you're right. Like Sony's the only one, right? So like, we don't have enough. And Xbox is like, but it could be that Sony is really like selling as soon as they're making them, people are buying them too, right? So
hey, I don't know. They would have better numbers then, and plus, Nintendo's still selling their systems. Now we got Steam Decks that are rolling out into the actual world.
The Switch is two Wii U's duct taped together, man. I mean, that hardware's been around for a while. The next thing we have on here is this one's for Luis. Forza Horizon 5 just got an update. I think it's already out. There's 6-player co-op and more Hot Wheel cars are being added. So in the game, you can kind of create a convoy, and you'd be able to do kind of random little events, or just kind of other events, but you couldn't do the Horizon story events together. When you try to load into a Horizon story event, it would kind of split you up, or you'd have to go back to solo. But now you can play with 6 of your buddies, the story events, and I'd be kind of down for this, actually. But Luis, what are your thoughts on this latest update for Forza Horizon?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised I still haven't played this game, and it came out a while ago. But now I hear Hot Wheels cars, I'm like,
okay.
maybe that's the thing that gets me to jump over that little bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm definitely I don't even really care for the co-op, because I don't know what it's like, but I'll check it out. Like, if it's there, if people want to play it, I'll play it with people. But that's not like the selling point for me. For me, I just want to make it clear, it's the Hot Wheels cars.
Okay, they just added some more
nostalgia.
But so the game, I think, is game passable. But you might have to it's DLC, I think.
I'll buy the Hot Wheels cars.
There you go. As long as we're going into it knowing what we're up to, or what we're getting into. But
he said, "I'm not gonna buy a Steam Deck, but I'll definitely buy some Hot Wheels."
That's a big price distinction, but okay.
The disparity is strong, Dalan. That DLC might be $15-20 or something. The Steam Deck, first of all, you can't even really get it. They're still trying to ship those things out, and it's like $600, right? The most basic one you can get or something. So it's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, if Dalan, if you're down, and me and Luis, maybe we could play some little Forza Horizon 5 story stuff. And Luis will be in his Hot Wheels cars while we're over here just dealing with basic cars.
I'll tell you what, if they fixed the multiplayer online thing, because me and you tried to do a convoy a couple of times, and the game kept saying, no, you don't exist, or you can't do convoys.
Well, let's hope they fix it. We'll try it again.
I hope they fix those types of things.
This next one, Dalan, is for you. We got it. So it's been like over the years, like over the last 20-30 years since basically Sonic 3 came out, the rumors were always like, oh, Michael Jackson wrote for this game, and nobody confirmed it until now that Yuji Naka, Sonic creator, and also a man I shared an elevator ride with once, a cool dude. We couldn't speak to each other because he didn't speak English. I don't speak Japanese. But anyways, Yuji Naka,
language barrier.
Yuji Naka was playing Sonic Origins recently, and he was tweeting out about it. It's like, the music sounds different. I don't think this is original. And in tripping out over like Sonic Origins doesn't use the original Sonic 3 music, he basically confirms like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson wrote some of the music for this or whatever. So now it's confirmed that Michael Jackson most definitely did write some music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Did you know about this then? As a young whippersnapper, as a young Kirkwood, my bad, Dalan. Kirkwood whippersnapper, were you thinking about like, were you thinking like were you thinking Michael Jackson wrote some of this, or you didn't even really think about it back then?
Hey, don't mind me. I'm just gonna go hang out with the packages of water down at Costco. So yeah, I'll be over there, Kirkland all up and down.
I said my bad. But what do you thoughts here on this?
But when I first played Sonic, obviously when I was a little kid, I didn't care about the dynamics of how the music came to be. I was just running around with a little blue man. All right, I was just enjoying myself, going through all the hill zone areas. But in later years, as I started figuring out about the games and I was out there playing Capcom versus SK2, me, the homie Eric, and the homie Genicel, Capcom versus SK2, not Marvel versus Capcom 2. You got them backwards.
I know you were playing Easy Operation out there, Dalan.
Hell no, that was way later. But hey, okay. you're gonna trigger me with that. Don't start.
I got you off track. We'll continue.
You're gonna trigger me with that. You really did get me on track. All right, me, the homie Eric, the homie Genicel, we used to actually have the debate over whether or not that music was stolen from Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Because we actually found some of the original songs, and there was all the hubbub on the internet about people saying that it was stolen or he actually wrote the music for it. But obviously, like you're right, nobody actually confirmed it. So I just chalked it up. Yeah, that shit was stolen. But little did we know. I can tell you what, Persona 5, Persona 5 actually did have music stolen from other places.
Reasonable. You're doing a lot of confirming out here, Dalan. I
like how you ask about Sonic and it brings up 2 other games.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, the people be stealing music for their games, and they'll rip it straight from the background track and just spice it up a little bit and make you think you'll never see it. Stole it from some artist out in Canada that's never going to come to America, and then he's like, wait, why is my music out there?
Yeah, because they don't have access, Dalan. They can't download games. They can't buy games in Canada to ever find out.
They can't buy games in Canada. They don't have the loonies and toonies to do so.
You're messing with their currency now, man. It's on wax. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool. A little tidbit, historical footnote, I guess, that all these years later, Yuji Naka just randomly in a tweet like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson wrote some of this music, and
it's like it's too late. Michael Jackson can't get any type of praise because that man's gone.
Wow, Dalan, just wow. The next thing, we're gonna move on to what I've been playing. I got on here, Luis, GTA. I'm assuming. Can you put no GTA?
Put what?
You've been playing GTA 5 still? GTA Online?
Yeah, I mean, why would I bring it up if it's just the same online?
Dalan.
No, you've also played some Rocket League and some
Dalan, can you put the camera on me, Dalan? Stop logging into GTA 5, please. And this is just as a friend. I wanted them to work on Grand Theft Auto 6. I hope they've had a chance.
And Jonathan and I are waiting on both of you guys whenever you want to roll through.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I actually installed my game, so I could actually start doing that.
There you go. So for me, this past week, I haven't been playing too much. I've been kind of studying. I got a test coming up, so I haven't been doing too much. Except Grand Theft Auto 3. I'm like, it says 97%. I don't know what I have left. So now I'm running through like crap that I've done before. I'm like, what did I miss? I don't know what this game is not registering, because it says I still have 4 missions left, but there's of course no more missions. But it does consider some of the little extras, the little vehicle missions, some of the like little rampage stuff. It considers those missions. So I don't know what I'm missing. At some point, I'm working on one last thing. I think I'm missing some of like the vigilante stuff. By the way, I don't know if I've said it before, but the pro tip to the vigilante missions: get an FBI car. You can spray paint it in the middle of that. I think I might have put that on wax already. So my bad.
No, you put that in.
So that's how long. That's how long I've been working on this thing for the last week. But I'm ready to move on. I don't know if I do San Andreas or I'm just gonna play something else. Maybe I do get around to the quarry, but
something else.
But we're getting the online update soon enough, so maybe I'll just hold off so we can all kind of work on it together. But Dalan, what else? What have you been playing, man? We'll go to you.
I mentioned it a little earlier in the episode. Is that I've actually been playing Returnal, and I believe I put it on wax last time that I actually made it all the way to the desert area where I guess Luis you decided to drop the game at that point.
Like I've seen it.
I was out there in the desert. I was killing things, and it got real wacky with their contraptions that they had out there. And they have those barriers, so you can't run out into the desert and wildly get lost. But then at some point, I died in the desert, and I was back in the forest where I crashed, and I was like, you know what? As fun as this game is, I don't want to do this again.
That is exactly why I stopped playing, because I knew if I died in the desert, I was going to go back to the plane crash, and I knew I was going to be pissed. That's why I stopped playing.
I lost all the good stuff I had. I had a parasite that was healing me. I had an awesome machine gun. I was doing great. I was living high on life, running through the desert.
Were high on the hog.
And then I get taken down because I got dropped into a room with a monster I didn't know was there, and it just murdered me.
Would co-op help, Dalan? Would co-op help?
Oh yeah, I saw those co-op bubbles, and I think co-op would help. You have to actually make at least 2 or 3 runs or something like that before you can play co-op. But yeah, as soon as you do.
Wait, you have to do something before opening up co-op?
You just have to do like a run or 2. You have to. Yeah, you have to get to a specific distance before that bubble actually pops up.
Okay, if I ever go to PlayStation Extra Plus Premium Deluxe, Premium
Extra, you don't need
Silver,
Premium. Extra.
I might give the co-op a chance with you. But what else have you been doing, Dalan? What else have you been playing?
Because I've been able to actually get some people on the game, which I wish you guys would get back on. But that's just me. I've been playing more Destiny. And I know how people hate seeing the repeat of Destiny, but Destiny is still an excellent game. No matter how many times people say it, you can say that it gets boring real fast, but then they do something new and it gets you back into the game. And Season of the Haunted, it's one of those extra seasons that's actually pretty nice. Whatever the season was before this was a little crappy. It was like Season of the Risen or something like that. I didn't really care for that one. But this one, it actually gives story. And I learned some stuff about Zavala. I learned some stuff about Aldrin. They're actually, what is it called in movies when they actually start changing their personality for the better? Whatever it is, that is happening.
Whatever it is. Dan didn't even give us a chance to answer. He's like, well, whatever it is. I'm not worried about it. But I mean, look, Destiny.
Character development. There you go.
See, the mechanics in Destiny are just beautiful, dude. They're just a thing of beauty, right? Every time I play the game, what do I say, Dalan? What do I say every time I come back to the game?
I was like, why did I stop playing this game? This game is too beautiful.
It's so good. It's the mechanics are incredible. It's just a smooth playing game. It's just, the lore is dense, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to read a wall of text this time. But I mean, sometimes it's like I do like the big events. I know I don't need to optimize every weapon I have. I'm like, I'm good enough. No. I got the Galahorn. I don't care about the stats or whatever. But I do want to play the dungeon. So at the very least, when you guys are leveled up enough, I want to jump into that new dungeon.
Hey, we're getting there. I got both Jeremy Hitchcock and Jeremy Lowe. Actually getting there. They're both 1,500 now, so we're close.
Okay,
we might even have enough people for a raid. We might have to pick up a 6th.
Ooh,
but
okay, a little raid action.
We'd be good to go if Luis is down to go.
Yeah, it's funny. We haven't really had like our own raid group since like Destiny 1, right? Like the first or second raid. Like the first and a half raid, because I think we probably did Crota's like halfway through with our own personal group, and like, damn, I guess we're doing LFG,
No, man, it's honestly the best way to do it is to have your own group of a minimum of 6, and going into a raid where nobody spoils it, nobody knows what's happening, and we're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah, so then that's that we hope nothing is ever spoiled for anybody. That's been episode Salient Points number 74. I'm Carlos Macias again, the Master of Ceremonies. Make sure you go be on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment, especially if you're shooting some smoke towards Dalan. We're definitely going to shout you out. Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, put notifications in the chat on how to fix Carlos's HVAC. So he needs help
All
at
of a
this point.
sudden,
I fixed my bird issue.
maybe I'll have
He
an
needs help with
update.
his HVAC.
I don't know what the issue is actually. I'm not sure if it's a HVACable type of thing. Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel, and I'm pretty sure you just get your the person you're paying rent to, right? At least to like, come fix this crap. Like, what? I don't want to deal with this.
Oh yeah, and just put in a little work order, but never forget. Wind Waker was coming out on the Nintendo Revolution.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, that's what Dalan was thinking about. He's talking about when it came out on the Wii U, and I was like, Dalan, you going to 2012?
I remember it was on.
It was at that point.
The way that it was announced on the system, I could have sworn it was not the Wii, but I guess Nintendo Revolution was the original name for it. So thank you, Lise, for correcting me and still making me seem stupid because it was still basically the Wii. But moving on.
Oh, we're moving on till next week. We'll see you guys later. You're on wax, Dalan. That's the important thing.